all this talk about the Trump cabinet, it gives me cause for concern. I'm a little worried, to be honest. You got a guy who wants to run the Justice Department, and Matt Gaetz, he's never been in the building. Usually people who run the Justice Department, their lawyers have worked at the Justice Department for decades. I mean, even Bill Barr, who was a loathsome, awful person, at least he knew, what the hell he was doing. Gaetz is there just to kind of hit on the secretaries or, the interns. So, Tony, without any further delay, if you would please, I need to hear how good these Trump cabinet picks are. Will you play me a little Monica Crowley? Thank you.
Making America great again. Every single cabinet pick that he has announced so far is incredibly accomplished and strong on their own. As a team, this really is a dream team. We have not seen this kind of talent pool since the founding fathers.
Wow, we haven't seen it since the founding fathers. I am.
Who is having that conversation?
Apparently.
Do you mean instead of dreams, does she really mean nightmares?
No, I don't know. You can have bad dreams. I liked it. Play it for me again, Tony.
Envelope, I guess,
Monica
right?
Crowley. She seems to know her stuff. She states it. Go ahead, Monica. Tell me how good
Making America great again. Every single cabinet pick that he has announced so far is incredibly accomplished and strong on their own. As a team, this really is a dream team. We have not seen this kind of talent pool since the founding fathers.
Since the founding fathers. Yeah, damn straight. Shut up, libs. These people are great. So what? They have lack a little experience. Whatever. Maybe that's a good thing.
What world does she live in?
You have new details on something? I'm just seeing this in the chat.
Yeah, there's an article that came out about the new details of Matt Gaetz's sexual, accusations against him. And apparently the victims testified that he paid them via Venmo, which is always the way
Matt
that you
Gaetz using Venmo.
Yeah. They apparently were big on going to the sex parties, like the Diddy style sex parties.
Oh, right. That's what Gaetz like to do, right?
Yeah.
We have processes and protocols and standards.
Well, the process and protocols were that they'd be paid through Venmo, I guess. Yeah.
This report says that transactions Gaetz had in 2018 with an accused sex trafficker for a total of $900 via Venmo, that then this sex trafficker alleged sent the money to 3 teenage girls in transactions labeled tuition and school. So there's a lot of new details coming out. I guess you can squash the report, but you can't squash the details forever. So
someone did this to spoil our Christmas.
Well,
all the dirty things are leaking out.
Yeah, I don't know. And look, you know me on this, and I know this isn't popular sometimes, but I'm not the sex police. You want to have sex, do it. You want to have sex outside your marriage, do it. You want to have sex with your wife and somebody else, or with your it doesn't matter.
It matters to me that they're underage.
Let me finish.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Can you let him finish, sir?
No, I cannot.
God, I can't even on my own goddamn show finish a thought.
That's right.
What's important here is that this girl is underage.
Why are you yelling?
Because I'm trying to finish a thought. She's underage. And that is, I will let Kim yell at me in response. She does get one yell back.
No, it's okay.
But the reality is this girl is underage, and she is being trafficked across state lines and being paid to attend these things. Now, it's not about who you're messing around with and who you're rolling around with. It takes it to a whole other ugly level.
Yeah.
So these are important details. And this guy, I think, now I'm told that the Trump people really do want him in at justice. I'm hearing that from more and more people and reading it in published reports that insiders say, no, Trump is ready to die on this hill. I don't think so. At some point, the heat just gets too hot and too great, and you jump out of the kitchen. And I think that's what's going to happen on the Gaetz appointment. Fox News personality Pete Hegseth, who was very critical of the Afghanistan withdrawal, He did a book on it, War on Warriors. And he said the next president of the United States needs to radically overhaul Pentagon senior leadership to make us ready to defend our nation and defeat our enemies. I mean, again, this is like, these guys are so slogan-driven. But once again, he might get passed because this transition is marked by so many of these bizarre cabinet nominees. And, you know, you can't stonewall all of them. There he is, Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth paid an accuser but denies any kind of sexual assault. The attorney for Hegseth says that it was a consensual encounter between these two people, and local cops had investigated it in Monterey. And they said that there was not enough there to justify charges being leveled, but they declined to release information about the victim, and they said that the full police report will not be released either. He's not been charged with any criminal case, but he does admit through his attorney that money was paid to keep her quiet. He settled it because it was during the Me Too movement, and he didn't want to lose his job, is the statement from the attorney. He didn't want to lose his job at Fox. If the accusation became public, that was feared to be the outcome. The attorney statement doesn't say how much Hegseth paid the accuser, but the woman is not being named, and they're saying, hey, I was being blackmailed and I just paid it off. The alleged assault took place in the early morning hours of October 8th, 2017 at the address of the Hyatt Regency Monterey Hotel and Spa. It was reported by the woman 4 days later. And Hegseth was there as a speaker at a conference held by the California Federation of Republican Women at a hotel during that time. Boy, that's pretty ironic, isn't it? Trump selected Hegseth as his defense secretary, despite the fact that Hegseth has no senior military or public office experience. He's not run anything, as we told you here on this show last week when the nomination was first talked about. And now the sexual assault news. We'll have to see. Again, when you compare it to Matt Gaetz, maybe Hegseth gets through? I don't know. I mean, you know, again, the Pentagon, you've got roughly 3 million people working there. You have to have some managerial experience to handle a massive organization of that size. And look, that's just part of it. I'm leaving out the hints of white nationalism that sort of get into the Hegseth conversation, not just the tattoos, things he said, the fact that women, he feels, shouldn't serve in the military. I mean, there are aspects to Pete Hegseth's public comments and clearly doctrines that he would put in place, if he could, that are just inconsistent with the U.S. military today. And now, you may say, yeah, I like the fact that he's going to reimagine the U.S. military. Dude, he's going to have trouble just administering to this huge group of people. He's not going to reimagine anything.
Can you imagine the conversation, though, with, you know, Trump and whoever he's talking to going over all these appointments? Well, you know, maybe it's not a good idea. He's got a sexual assault allegation. Well, yeah, so do I. You know, so I've been found legally liable for rape. And over again. You know, these are the bad guys. These are the guys you root against in the movies. They're the bad guys. And these are the guys that are going to be in charge.
Yeah.
It's hard not to be disillusioned. You know?
No, completely agree. Completely agree. It's definitely the bullies on the playground who are running things in the school.
The Mark Thompson Show.
This is kind of low-grade trolling from Mars, who is sort of the low-grade troll. The fact that you, Mark, still believe and hold on to Project 2025 shows how easily manipulated you far lefties are. You say that Project 2025 has nothing of relevance to this incoming administration. The fact that I still talk about it or I still hang on to it makes me a far lefty. Dude, the guy who is taking over the FCC authored part of Project 2025. Maybe you missed that part because you were so busy trolling us. But the reality is he authored part of this Project 2025 document, which is a strategy and blueprint to take government over and flush large parts of the administrative state. So I don't think it's unfair at all to refer to Project 2025 and in relation to the new FCC commissioner, at least if this guy Brendan Carr actually does get confirmed, because he is the pick for chair. And it is the start of a conservative chapter of Washington that will involve maybe streamlining large parts of government. Now, you may view that as a good thing, but what I'm suggesting to you is that they're doing it with a heavy hand. And there's a slash and burn quality to the way Trump and his cronies are going at it that really doesn't take stock of a lot of specifics. Run the Vivek thing, because this is him talking about what will happen in a Trump administration.
Are you expecting to close down entire agencies, like President Trump has talked about the Department of Education, for example? Are you going to be closing down departments?
We expect mass reductions. We expect certain agencies to be deleted outright. We expect mass reductions in force in areas of the federal government that are bloated. We expect massive cuts among federal contractors and others who are overbilling the federal government. So yes, we expect all of the above. And I think people will be surprised by, I think, how quickly we're able to move with some of those changes, given the legal backdrop the Supreme Court has given us.
Are you expecting?
I don't know that the legal backdrop actually is there. The Supreme Court hasn't necessarily given you that legal backdrop, but I'm sure they're going to try to do it. And by the way,
legal backdrop, does he mean the immunity thing?
Yeah, the immunity thing. And the immunity thing only goes so far. I mean, you can't eliminate entire government agencies just based on this immunity thing. I get it. They're flying that flag of immunity and trying to do a lot, but I think they're shooting first and asking questions later, which is a very Trumpian thing to do. So here's a guy, Chris Wright, the CEO of a Denver-based fracking company called Liberty Energy. He is going to be the next pick for the Secretary of Energy. He is also going to serve on this newly formed Council of National Energy, which Trump said is going to consist of all agencies involved in the permitting, production, generation, distribution, regulation, and transportation of energy. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, who's Trump's pick for Secretary of the Department of Interior, is going to be the chairman of that. They want to drill, baby, drill, green light everything. Let's, get rid of regulations. Let's ramp up distribution, production, generation, all these permitting. I want it all. Chris, who you see there, has been a leading technologist and entrepreneur in energy, Trump said. In addition to Chris's work on fracking, oil, and natural gas, he also sits on the board of a modular nuclear reactor company. And he's talked about the potential of nuclear. Randy's a big nuclear guy in our chat. He might like that. Harold Hamm, the Oklahoma-based fracking billionaire who had Trump's ear on energy issues during the campaign, says that Wright was his top choice for the post. So he's happy. So the fracking and oil and gas people are really happy with these new choices.
Why do you think that guy had Trump's ear?
I'm guessing money.
I'm guessing you're right. So
donations. The donors.
You think maybe he paid for the energy secretary choice?
No, could be.
Oh,
could
maybe.
Be. Yeah. It's a very transactional kind of world, politics in Washington, and Trump takes it to high art. I thought David Remnick wrote a little run that was pretty good. I'm just going to read it to you real quick, and then we're going to wrap things up. He says, at least as a matter of rhetoric, Trump is uninterested in conventional notions of expertise. It smacks of elitism. Nor is he focused on assembling a council of constructive disagreement, a team of rivals. That smacks of disloyalty. As his personnel choices rolled out in recent days, it became clear that they pointed wholly to his long-held priorities, and they are not the common good. The nominations of Matt Gaetz as Attorney General, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Secretary of Health and Human Services, Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense, and Tulsi Gabbard as the Director of National Intelligence are the residue of Trump's resentments and his thirst for retribution. In Gaetz, who faces allegations which he denies of illegal drug use and having sex with an underage girl, Trump sees himself a man wrongly judged. In Kennedy, an anti-vax conspiracy theorist, he sees a vindication of his own suspicion of science and his wildly erratic handling of the COVID crisis. In Hegseth, who defends war criminals and lambasts, quote, woke generals, he sees vengeance against the military establishmentarians who called him unfit. In Gabbard, who finds the good in foreign dictators, he sees someone who might shape the work of the intelligence agencies to help justify ending U.S. support for Ukraine. In other words, Trump's nominations, in their reckless endorsement of the dangerously unqualified, look like the most flagrant act of vindictive trolling since the rise of the internet. But it is a trolling beyond mischief. All these appointees are meant to bolster Trump's effort to lay waste to the officials and the institutions that he's come to despise. These appointees are not intended to be his advisors. They are his shock troops. And that really landed with me, and I touched on it with Gary Dietrich. To me, Trump views government as the enemy. Trump views government as the thing that investigated him, that hit him with tax bills through the IRS. The impediments to his happiness have all been through government. And these appointments and the way he prosecutes his presidency has every bit to do with revenge. And so all of these people who voted for Trump because he's going to, I don't know, make America great again or deport the immigrants, and that's your big issue, whatever. I mean, you're going to be, of course, you're going to be left in the dust, because what really is important to Trump is dismantling this thing that has been such a burden and such an irksome thing in his life. It has been an irritant. It has been a weight on him. He wants government done. And so he will get his revenge, not only on the government institutions, but on the people that he associates with government having gone after him. I'm talking about the Jack Smiths of the world.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.